what is it about printmaking that you enjoy so much?
It's the carving aspect of it, the physical act of pushing, a blade through a surface to create a mark. So it's really that, because, it does then bring in, that whole sort of idea, that whole culture of, sort of carving that, is global. So, you then connect with, a broader tradition of, sort of global carving. But in terms of, sort of my connection with printmaking, I can remember doing my first print, carving my first lino back in, I think it was year 9 in high school, and it was the old, sort of brown version of linoleum, Hessian backed substrate. Unfortunately, it was probably an old version of lino, so it was quite crumbly, and just, sort of go through the process of carving it, it wasn't quite working out, how I expected it to. So I was very happy to bend that as soon as I walked out the class, or before I walked out the class. But I picked up.
There was something in the medium that...
Yeah. Well, that's right. But it was something that I picked up when I first went to art college, and it's stuck with me ever since. So it's one of the first mediums that I go to every day in my studio. And it's always been there. And like I said, the blocks themselves have just grown bigger and bigger and bigger. The bigger block, for me, means I can add more layers of storytelling within each and every block that I create. So they start off with that connection to usually a traditional story, a traditional narrative, or something that sparks my interest in terms of history, or my own personal experiences in the Torres Straits. But through the act of composing those blocks and then starting to carve, I then start to add in all of these other narratives that just sort of, filter through my brain and down into the work itself. And so often the print work is layered by usually about 5 to 6 different stories that all take you on different tangents across, the block, and then out into the universe.